Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a really simple way to declutter your daily schedule. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Flora, certified simplification coach and 7-time author. And for the last 27 years, I've been helping women like you align into a life and a business that you are wildly obsessed with by helping you clear out the 9 types of clutter, keeping you from a life that you love. So let's get into today's topic. Many of you listening are feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of things that you have to do. You've got things in your business, you've got things in your home, you've got things with your family, you've got personal commitments, and it feels like almost that you're playing catch up. Like when you get a free minute, you're just like, oh my God, like what do I start first? And it's almost really challenging for you to actually relax and unplug. Now, this is actually a form of daily clutter, which is huge. I have a free gift on my website. Click the link below this so that you can download it. But your schedule, it feels so packed with stuff, and it almost feels like no matter how intentional you try to make your schedule, it feels at the end of the day like it was a very unintentional day. When this happens, mental clutter kicks in. And the reason why mental clutter kicks in is because your day is so packed. And then something else gets added into the mix of, oh, I need to do this or I need to do that. And then you're like, okay, I need to remember to do this. And you might write it down, you might not write it down. But because now you have the daily clutter and then you have new things coming in, you've got the mental clutter. What happens then is process clutter then kicks in. So it's this kind of never-ending snowball of things that are constantly building up and constantly things for you to remember. And then when you have such a packed day and you have so much mental clutter also floating around, we forget to evaluate the way in which we do stuff. And it's like, do I even need to be doing this? Can I do this in a more abbreviated way? Which will take less time, which will free up my time and also get rid of some of my daily clutter. So it's kind of one of those things that it's like a self-feeding monster. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's what we're going to address today. Now, back in the day when I was growing my business, so I was working a full-time job while growing my business, while raising my kids, and also trying to have a social life. I felt like that my time really wasn't my own. I felt like any free time that I had, I was spending it making lists and trying to remember of all the other things that I needed to do and all the things that we're getting ready to do. And one of the things that I tried out and was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can take some things off of my mental plate and just kind of integrate them into my day. And so what I did was I created set days to do certain things. So I didn't have to like wonder, okay, when am I going to do laundry? When am I going to do my client calls? When am I going to do my team meetings? When am I going to go grocery shopping? Because when I was raising my kids, typically the weekends were either filled up with chores or filled up with soccer games that were, 100 miles away or baseball games or whatever. And so by setting set days of when I was going to do certain things, that actually freed up so much mental and daily clutter because I got rid of that need to remember everything all the time. And once I quit that day job and was able to go full time in this business, what I did was I created set days to do certain things. Come hell or high water, those were the days that I was going to do my things. And so I'll give you an example of what my schedule is. So Mondays, I do team meetings, admin tasks, I do writing, and I also plan my content. Tuesdays, I film and do content creation. Wednesdays and Thursdays, client calls, group coaching, as well as outreach. And then Fridays, I do a weekly review, a weekly reflection on just literally everything. And I also plan for the next week. So having these set days made everything flow so much easier. And it also eliminated a lot of that mental clutter. It eliminated a lot of decision fatigue because it allowed me to really be fully present with my family and my clients, because I didn't have to think about, oh my God, like, what do I have to do? What am I missing? And when somebody would, say, hey, we're doing a meeting, I'm like, I do meetings on Mondays. And if they couldn't do it on Mondays, I wasn't attending the meeting. I'm like, no, we're good, And frequently people will ask me to do podcasts in the evening. I don't work in the evening. I don't work past 4 p.m., typically 3 p.m. And so having these set parameters of what I want to spend my time doing and on which day I want to do it frees up so much, because I know Mondays are this type of day. Tuesday, this. Wednesdays, this. And energetically, you prepare yourself to have that kind of a day and to do those types of tasks. Now, another thing, especially for entrepreneurs who have a house or have a household, a lot of mental energy goes into deciding when to do those specific things like laundry or grocery shopping or cleaning. And that also can feel really overwhelming if it doesn't have a place in your schedule. And this is one of the reasons why on the weekends, all of a sudden you have your whole weekend spent cleaning your house. I actually have another podcast episode talking specifically about that as well, about how to free up your weekends. So I'll give you an example. You could do laundry on Mondays and Thursdays. You could have family game night every Tuesdays. You could do grocery shopping online every Thursday and have it delivered on Friday. So when you have set days for these specific things, what this does is actually, again, it removes that decision fatigue so that you can stay on track and on task without having to constantly think about what needs to be done. Every time you go into the bathroom or use the bathroom, or once a day, you could wipe everything down with Lysol wipes, or you could wipe everything down with your preferred cleaner. When you vacuum, you could have a brush on the end of the vacuum that you could swipe on the baseboards, so that you can do a little bit of that deep cleaning each time you do a surface level clean, so that when you actually go to do that deep cleaning or to just do a regular weekly clean, it doesn't take as much time as it would if you were to kind of stack all those things all up in one go. You know what I mean? So another thing, and we talked about this previously, is just like getting your home structured and having set days for laundry and grocery shopping and all this other stuff, you need to have the same structure in your business. When you have that clear plan every single week, your work days are going to go smoother. The flow is going to go smoother. Your content is going to be easier for you to create because you're not worried about having a client call and then a meeting and then trying to, fit in a podcast episode and then doing all these random things, and you're task switching. And so for each one of these things, you have to show up differently with a different type of mindset. And this is one of the things that I repeatedly hear from my clients when they're just coming into me, is that they're just like, I just feel so scattered and I have all this stuff and I just feel like I'm not being very productive. I'm making money, but I'm not enjoying it. And so what we do is we start to compartmentalize when you do specific things in your business on specific days, so that you're literally doing the same type of task all day. And what that does is it frees up that mental clutter, it frees up the process clutter, and it frees up the daily clutter, because you're not constantly task switching, and you start to feel more in flow, and you start to feel more empowered in your business. And then you can have the mental bandwidth to say, what am I doing that's just wasting my time? And what am I doing that's actually moving the needle in the direction that I want it to go? And again, you could do content creation on Mondays. You could do team meetings on Mondays and Fridays. You could do outreach calls or on-site calls on Wednesdays. You could meet with clients on Thursdays. So having dedicated days for dedicated tasks will help you to not shift gears all the time. Because again, this is one of the things that wastes so much time during the day and creates that daily clutter where you're just like, oh my God, like I can't even focus. And you get done with your day feeling like you really haven't gotten a whole lot of stuff done. So I want you to take a minute, and I really want you to think about what you do regularly, both in your personal life and in your business. And If you had to assign specific days to do specific things, what days would you do specific things? And again, try to keep like tasks together on those specific days. And so if you don't really know, grab a piece of paper, write everything that you do during the day and during the week and during the month, and ask yourself, okay, what are these like items? Content creation, batch jobbing stuff, filming, writing, all of that stuff is very similar. Team meetings, client calls, group coaching work, on-site visits, all that stuff. Give yourself permission to categorize all the things that you do. And then again, assign a day to do each of those things and notice how much more in flow your work week goes. This is going to be so incredible for you. And again, you can also try this with your home. I would love to hear from you. Share in the comments what's one thing that you're going to implement from today's episode. Also, if you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave a review. Your support helps this podcast reach more people looking to declutter their lives and businesses and align into a life that you are wildly obsessed with. Remember, all it takes is a clear vision of what you want and the willingness to take one small shift in that direction daily to align into a life that you love. I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah.